Right.
The Taco Bell's decade menu is back, and this time it's focused on that crazy time period that we called Y2K. If you or a loved one experienced emotional distress due to slow internet 25 years ago, Taco Bell believes you're entitled to a delicious escape. With Taco Bell's decades Y2K menu, you get five faves like the cool ranch Doritos Locos Taco, caramel apple empanada, chili cheese burrito, 7-layer burrito, or double decker taco, all for $3 or less. You already suffered dial up. Don't wait any longer. Experience Taco Bell's Decades Y2K menu now. Also, don't forget to add on a $7 Buffs box with 4 Taco Bell classics and a collectible CU Player Cup featuring Jordan Seaton, Juju Lewis, Draylon Miller, or Quentin Gibson. And we want to shout out Taco Bell because every time CU scores a touchdown this year, Taco Bell will help support CU athletics with a $1,000 donation to the Golden Buffaloes Scholarship Fund. Live Moss at Taco Bell. All right. Live Moss. Thank you, Taco Bell.
I know
the Y2K, we lived all that.
I know we got at least 7 or 8 regular viewers. I wonder how many of them were actually alive in Y2K.
That was a wild time. I'll never forget those days with that dial-up sound, man. That's ingrained in your memory.
Yeah. And the world was going to end. Oh my God. Yeah. Crazy times.
I probably ate the most Taco Bell in my life around the Y2K. And we've kind of passed it down. Our kids are just throwing back Taco Bell all the time. So appreciate our sponsor as always. William, that was a rough one. That I was kind of racking my brain during the Coach Prime era of most disappointing losses, and this one's up there.
Yeah, it's up there. Lots of thoughts on this one. What's maddening to me is that we keep doing the same stupid stuff, and we're more talented than that team. I don't care what anybody says, but our coaches stink, man. I don't know what to tell you. I just can't believe that Coach Prime's going to let this thing go down the drain out of loyalty to Shermer and these other guys. But that was hard to swallow, and I'm going to run through the first 2 drives to illustrate what I'm talking about. But man, that one's tough to take. I'm not sure what it means all just yet. I think all the panic and anger and spouting off at the mouth stuff is a little bit premature. I mean, Georgia Tech is 3-0 and they just beat the number 12 team in the country, and Houston's 3-0 and they haven't had a close game yet. So I don't know how good those 2 teams are, but they look pretty good. And I still think we got enough talent on this team to get to a bowl game this year. But man, they got to. Coach Prime needs to stop with the players are soft garbage and start kicking his coaches in the ass, because they're the ones that are wrecking this thing, not the players.
Well, I mean, there's stuff going on behind the scenes that, Coach Prime's going to, like an AD does to his head coach, you're going to protect them until you can't anymore, right?
Oh, yeah.
And there's no question that Pat Shermer's play calling has been an issue this year. The problem is that it's not just that, right? It's a lot of things, and a lot of things you can point to that are not working on either side of the ball. And that's maybe the most discouraging part of it. It's that, yes, I firmly believe this football team is going to get better as the season goes along, and that the fact that there's not much separating the third stringer from the first stringer in a lot of positions will benefit the team come November when teams are banged up. But in this spot, coming off 3 games, I understand why folks are discouraged.
Well, I understand why they're discouraged, but I'm not going to give a pass to these coaches. And I know it's not just about Shermer, it's about all these coaches. Sean wrote a thing on Friday night or Saturday, and he was right on the money. He said, they're not teaching them how to play the game. The planning isn't right. The play calling isn't right. The formation, the personnel usage. I don't even know what to make of this personnel usage, because they're playing dudes out of favoritism rather than who's the best player or something. I don't know whether it's favoritism, but they're not playing the best guy, and they're not putting it. This is all coaching, man. I mean, I'll just look at you can just look at the stats and see this. Simeon Price over 3 games is averaging 7.1 yards a carry. DeKalen Taylor's averaging 6.1 yards a carry. Price got 19 carries. DeKalen Taylor has 10. Michael Welch averaging 3.3 has got 23 carries. Against Houston, Simeon Price had 5 carries at a 10.2 yards a clip and got 5 carries, man. Ryan Staub had 11 carries and 35 passes. We put the whole damn thing on Ryan Staub. It's the abject stupidity of the coaching on the offense is beyond me, man. I just don't understand it. It's clear to anybody watching, and I'll run through the first place series was, and when he's got it scripted, Shermer's got a good offense. And I like what Sean said, that he plays notes, but he didn't play music. But that first drive, until he started to get creative, I guess, our first play is a split zone, and either the center or the right guard miss an assignment. So it's a loss of 2. And then we have a quick slant, which I've been calling for all along to Williams. They had a cover 2. They had the Welch in motion, pulled the linebacker out. We go for 9 yards. We run a stretch zone, and we get a first down right behind the great block behind the right side. On play 4, we got 2 backs, 3 wides. We get a gain of 3. We were outnumbered, should have audible, but we still got 3 yards out of it. Play 5, same set and reversed it, but here he got smart, and out of the same, he made them look like he's going to run the same pass play, or the same run play, but he ran a pass, and it was a quick hitch to Draylon Miller for first down. It's perfect. That's what you do on offense. You set them up, okay? You run the same formation, but run a different play out of it. Now, I don't know why he doesn't do that all game long. Play 7. Another quick slant. Well, the quick slant was there all day, but we're spread, and we throw a sideways pass to Welch behind him for a loss. Play 7, 3rd and 12. Trips out there. He's got Omarion Miller beating the coverage, and Staub misses the pass, and then it's punt. Hand the damn ball off. Hand the damn ball off to Simeon Price until they stop it. Not one team on our schedule has stopped that guy running a damn ball. Not one, and we don't do it. I mean, it's malpractice that the dude had 5 carries in the game. That's why we had 20 points. The damn guy running offense doesn't have a clue, and the head coach won't hold him accountable.
We got a lot of notes to go through. First off, I don't think I said hi to you, William.
Oh. Yeah, you got to wait till the first rant is out of the way to get to the nice.
I almost started playing the Taco Bell jingle music there because it cracked me up a couple weeks ago when that was an accident on our show.
Hey, look, I'm trying to be
Hey, man. Okay. All right, we're live. I won't push your buttons today. That was my one attempt.
No, that's all right. I think it's all. Hey, look, we're here for the entertainment business. So if I got to beat the entertainment, that's what I'm here for. Analysis.
Well, I do feel like these are the podcasts that turn into therapy sessions, right?
Yeah.
It's like we kind of talk our way through it because there's some stuff to work through, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like 2 weeks in a row, like after Delaware, I was pretty down. I think I texted you, we'll probably not win again. But then, after watching the game and thinking it through, I kind of come to some different perspectives. And I think there's a lot of potential on this team. I think we've played 2 pretty good teams. I think Delaware is better than people think. But, the thing that mystifies me is for the second year in a row, we're not ready to go yet. I don't know what the hell they do in camp. I guess they think it's the NFL and these first 3 games or 4 games or whatever are preseason, but it's not preseason, man. These count. So I don't know. I think they'll continue to get better. I think Coach Prime is serious about this, but I think he's got some guys on that staff that are just his friends, and he needs to get serious dudes in there, man. Shermer is not good. But I think there's still a lot positive. I think there's a lot of beatable teams in this conference if we get some things fixed. But I don't understand some of the personnel decisions. I don't know why Brandon Davis Swain is in there. He's not ready. He's just not ready, and it's not fair to him. Tavian Coleman was a beast, and he doesn't get the playing time. So, I don't understand that one. Alexander McPherson was aces in the first half, man. Aces. Didn't see it down in the second half. I don't know what they're doing out there, man. But it's beyond me. There's plenty of talent on this team. It's just not being used well.
Well, that's a perfect segue to bring in our guy, Sean Niehoff, who was out in Houston, because I know chatting with him in the press box that he feels the same way about you with BDS, Brandon Davis Swain, that, it's a good story. He's going to be a good player down the road. That's my opinion. But right now, yeah, just one of those guys that, maybe needs a little bit more development, and you've got such a seed in your laden group. Sean, good to see you, man. Looks like you made it back home safe. That was a fun trip out to Houston until kickoff, huh?
Well, first off, happy Sunday, guys, and preach, Will.
Hey,
William, preach.
Well, and not to cut you off before you even start, but I just want to illustrate the Davis Swain thing with their first series, which play one, we pinned them on a 3, and let me tell you something. Okay, I'm a convert on the punter, man. That dude, that dude is great. Okay.
That punt almost kind of defied the laws of physics, didn't it? It is crazy.
Yeah, and the coverage teams are right there to take advantage of it. That's the beauty of it. But they go play one from the 3, and this is the one time I saw this, that they run a straight split zone, and the hole is supposed to be to the left, but the interior line splits Barnes and Davis Swain. They absolutely exploit Davis Swain. And the guy gets about 9 yards. The next play, they run a swing screen to the running back. It's a screen all the way, except their wide receivers block, and ours don't. And the guy gets another 16 yards. I mean, it was a simple damn play. We don't shut down the outside, whether it's off tackle or out towards the sideline. But then play 3, they're in basically a power I, twins left, and then Anquin Barnes just beats up the center guard in the center. Keaton Wade closes down on what looks to me like a inside zone, and they hold to a gain of 1. And that's perfect defense. Problem is they're not consistent, and they don't do it play after play. Okay, because Keaton Wade, man, he's either All-American or he's not there. I don't understand what his deal is, but he's not consistent again. On play 4, Wade gives up contain, and the QB scrambles for 9. And that's just him getting beat inside on a block by the tight end. He should have been outside rush. Play 6 is first down. They throw a long pass. Tavian Coleman does a beautiful swim move to beat a swim technique, and it's the most blatant hold I've seen. Jersey stretching and everything. They don't call it, but luckily we got good coverage, and it's incomplete down the field. Then there's long pass downfield, and Wade's got contained, and the pocket holds up, and he throws a incomplete pass. And then on play 8, Tavian Coleman stops a quarterback draw for no gain. Just one-on-one beats this dude, man. Just beats that offensive tackle and makes a beautiful play. Now, why the hell isn't that guy playing more? Because they can't block him. I mean, this is what I'm trying to illustrate is and then on play 9, Alex McPherson almost has a sack and causes a bad throw into the ground. And then we don't see him again in the second half. I just don't understand the personnel decisions on both the offense or the defense in this offense. I mean, how is Ryan Staub the guy you're going to give 46 touches to, and everybody else gets nothing? I just don't understand it.
Sean, do you want to run with any of that stuff? But we were trying to figure out what William Gardner's nickname on the show is going to be now, because we got William Burnett, who's going to be on the show later. I don't know. I might start calling you the pastor, because we record these on Sundays a lot of the time. Like Sean said, preach. Take us to church, William. Do you have any?
Or I was thinking I could be the batting team. I tee him up for Sean, man. So here you go, brother.
I like the deacon. That I came out of this with several thoughts. A lot of the specifics, the players, things have been talked about, whether it's, William talked about some of them in his opening, and the board has talked about a whole bunch of them, individual player things. I think a lot of it comes down to the way players play is they do what they're coached to do or what they're allowed to do.
Right.
One of the two. And so it comes back to a lot of the freelancing that's going on, and there's and going back and now having 3 games of film to rewatch, especially on the defensive line. Those guys are all 4 guys are freelancing fairly regularly. They're playing with a focus on individually beating their man, regardless of what that does for gap control. And so that's been a big problem. And so that's obviously being coached or allowed. But that, I think that speaks a little bit more to, and possibly it was Prime's challenges over the summer and his absence from the team, but the same is true for coaches. And I know, William, you can, having coached in your past, you can speak to that too. Coaches are going to coach the way that they're told to coach or the way that they're allowed to coach. And if things aren't right, it's up to, whether it's the coordinators or the head man to make those corrections. So there's a lot of, I think, dysfunction from the top down right now. We saw some of it last year. We saw a little bit of it, aside from the great opening game at TCU. The beginning of that season was a little bit shaky. There's just, as you mentioned, William, and we've talked about it for a couple of weeks, this team doesn't come out of camp ready to play. And so I'm not sure exactly what their focus is on for whatever that is, those 6 or 8 weeks of camp, but it's not effective to start a season. So, and I know, I think Prime has developed also, and I don't know if this goes back to his Jackson State roots or if it's something that he's always had, but it's a bit unusual for somebody who was a star player who ends up getting into the coaching gig. Is a lot of times their challenge is that they expect everybody to be able to do the same sort of things that they did. That it's hard for them to understand sometimes that not everybody has that same level of talent. And he almost seems to be the opposite. He seems to really attach himself to character guys, to hard workers, to somebody said on the board, the Rudy, types. And I think that's great. I mean, I was that player myself, and I know that when I was young and coaching, that those players always had kind of a soft spot in my mind, in my heart. But there comes a point where you got to put your best players on the field, and you've got to let there has to be a combination of talent and work ethic. And I think you're seeing that with the quarterback. I think you're seeing that a little bit. In the safety group, and probably some other places that may be one of those BDS things too, is he may just be a, high character, great guy that works his tail off. And so regardless of the fact that, whether he's ready or not, he's getting that playing time. Salter's not a leader. He's not that vocal rah, type guy. He does his work. He does know what he needs to do, but he's not going to be the gym rat and the character guy necessarily that Estab is, who's been around for 3 years now. And that's just his personality. He's a little bit aloof, standoffish, and honestly, Juju Lewis is exactly the same way. Those two have very similar personalities. Those two hang out together quite a bit. They're not, immersed in the locker room and all the team stuff. They just are more loners, quieter personalities. And that may not be what you want from your quarterback. You may want that guy to be the leader.
Don't you think
Shedeur was like that?
I think Shedeur was the same guy like that.
Yeah, Shedeur was like that early in his career, and then he, and part of it I think was all the different media stuff that they have going around inside the building with Bucky and everything else. The more you're exposed to be putting yourself out there a little bit, I think it becomes a little more natural. So I think Juju's got some room to grow there and the time to grow. Salter doesn't necessarily, but at the same time, I think it's evident at this point, to me at least, that the product on the field is one where Salter's going to give you your best chance to win. And if that's not your focus right now, then, pick somebody to develop, whether it's Staub or Juju. But you also run the risk at that point of damaging a psyche, as well. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Thanks for the super chat, Big Mike. He said, love Coach Prime, but he has to make some coaching changes, especially offensively. Ryan should have never started. Shermer had 8 months to plan. Appreciate you, Big Mike. Sean, I'm really glad you brought up the freelancing defensively. That was the main thing that stood out to me on the rewatch of the game. It's just tough, I think, defensively right now, because some of the guys that are supposed to be leaders, like Preston Hodge, he's got that L on his jersey, are struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just don't know who's really playing well enough defensively right now to kind of direct things,
And
Yeah.
Arden Walker's kind of been non-existent through 3 games, quite frankly.
Yeah, and I think part of that too is when players can't trust the player next to them, they feel like they need to do more.
Right.
And so they start doing things that are outside the scheme and outside of, their responsibility. And then that just leads to other issues. So I don't know that it's all a selfish freelancing sort of thing. I think in some cases it's I can't trust this guy next to me is going to do his job. So I've got to do 2 jobs.
Right. They're not trying to be the star. They're just trying to.
Right.
Now, let me throw something out there if I can and get your 2 thoughts on it. The first thing I wrote down after looking at Georgia Tech and Houston's records and Georgia Tech beating Clemson was, what impact did Coach Prime not being here all summer have? And I take it from this perspective because I've been on a lot of staffs, and where you don't have a strong head coach or where he's not around, it's natural to get who's in charge, right? And there's natural infighting, and this guy wants to be the boss and that guy wants to be the boss, and in the end, nobody's the boss, and there tends to be, a lack of cohesion or whatever. So I wonder to what extent Coach Prime being out for this long period of time prior to this season has an effect. You guys are more inside the program than I do, so I wonder about that.
I don't think that's the excuse here, honestly.
Not excuse, I'm just asking how much.
Yeah. Well, I don't think a whole lot, honestly, because Coach Prime is somebody that delegates quite a bit as is, and he's somebody that is going to have, a sabbatical back on his ranch in Texas for a couple weeks. Regardless, from everything I could tell, William, like the process was still going along the same as it had the previous off seasons, even when he wasn't there. I'm sure the players, would have liked to have seen him sooner than they did, but you pretty much had your roster constructed at that point, aside from a couple pieces here and there. And they did a pretty good job transfer portal wise this offseason. So if anything, I thought it was going to be like this motivational thing to get this team up. But I just think like we were just talking about, everybody's kind of looking to the left and the right, and they're not trusting the folks around them enough right now.
But I guess that's kind of what I'm getting at, is that they haven't developed that leadership in this group like they had last year. And of course, they had two guys. And one thing I want to say for sure is we had huge victories last year that were not just Shedeur and Travis. So it's not just that. There's more to it. Right. We had big wins in which Shedeur and Travis did not carry us, okay? So there's no reason why we can't do it this year. But Sean said something that I've been saying for years, and people will believe it from Sean because he's smart, and they don't believe it from me. But players play the way they're coached to play, man. I've been in this game for almost 50 years, man, and players play the way they are coached to play, unless they absolutely don't have talent, and then they just get beat. But and Sean's right too, that coaches will coach the way they're allowed to coach, absent the head coach being there and make sure. But these players are not well coached. This team is not well coached. It's not lacking talent. It's lacking the coaching at the top and at the position levels too. So I don't know where we go from here and how to fix that, but something's got to change in the coaching office.
They kind of had a coach on the field in Cam Silman-Craig last year too. Sure. I feel like his loss is maybe not as big as Shedeur and Travis, but like number 3 on the list for this football team.
And I think people will say Nakai Hill-Green, but you know what? We didn't have him in the first 3 games, really. He didn't really come on until game 4.
Well, and I think that's one of those things too that, that I asked the question, is the staff too compartmentalized? Do the position coaches have too much say in who's going on the field, win regardless of package, regardless of of what fits with what the coordinators are scheming or not. Because it did seem like a couple of things happened last year when things started to change and pick up. And Nakai Hill Green was one of those, like you mentioned, William. And those two things that happened was a couple weeks into the season, George Hilo was introduced, who had some experience with Green, but also was, had experience coaching linebackers. And so he was able to help that room. And it felt to me, I don't have any, inside knowledge, but it also felt to me like Livingston got to a point where he kind of was like, these are the guys I want on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Because there were some significant changes and things started to pick up from there. And I don't think we've hit that point this season. And I think that, I think Hilo being moved from the linebacker room to the edge room has potentially, downgraded the coaching that's happening at both of those positions.
Don't you think that's sort of the NFL style, though? That's what the purpose of your preseason games is, to figure out who those guys are that you want to go with. Is that playing into that thing?
Yeah, and I think it's a byproduct also of just the way both the NFL and college camps are run today. There's players have a lot more value today than they did a decade ago.
Yeah.
And so you've got monetary concerns about your players getting injured in camp and not having your assets available. It's just become, it's become more of a business. So I think that you're softer in camp. You do less tackling. You do a lot less live. Let's see how these guys, operate under fire than you did in the past. And, and so then you get into the season and that shows.
Let me ask you this, Sean. Am I way off base in looking at the stats and saying you just hand the ball off to Simeon Price until somebody stops it on the inside zone, the stretch zone, and the split zone? I mean, I don't see anybody that stopped that. And then when they back up the safeties and they walk up those linebackers, Joseph Williams hits the slant for 9 yards. I mean, it just opens up that middle so much. I don't see why we just don't hand off to that guy.
I agree. And without disparaging, Michael Welch, because I think he's going to develop into a really good back. The one thing that's very evident in both watching the games live, but also, looking at film, is that what separates Simeon Price is his vision.
Yes.
And so he, and I think that he has demonstrated over the course of 3 games that he needs to be the guy that you give the ball to. And then DeKalen Taylor becomes your change of pace back, but also, your guy that you can use on third downs, that you can use to involve in the pass game. He's your all-purpose guy. But in terms of just pounding the ball, I think that I would put Simeon Price out there and run him until his legs fall off.
Yeah. Hang the whole offense on him, I think. I mean, at this point, and let, and put oh my goodness, Salter back at quarterback. And there was that one play on that first drive where we got a first down on, it was 3rd and 2, where if we had Salter in there and he pulls the ball, he runs for a touchdown. There's just nobody out there, and we're not taking advantage of it. The other teams attack us on both of our edges, either out by the sidelines or right off tackle, and we don't shut it down, and we don't do it to them. It's just maddening to watch. And to go back to your point, I'm not putting down Brandon Davis Swain, because I think that kid's got potential, but he's not ready now, and it's not fair to him to put him out there and get beat up regularly when you got guys that could do a better job. Yeah.
And I thought that was one of the issues at quarterback too, is I really think it was unfair to take what happened against Delaware, which in my opinion was not as impressive as most people saw it. When you look at the entire body of work, you look at a couple big plays, it gets everybody excited, including the coaching staff. It's a feel-good story for Prime. And so they throw Staub out there, and I think that was not fair to Staub, to be perfectly honest. And now we're in a wait and see mode, because, I think the question we've seen in the past that this staff can be very stubborn and prideful in, when they make statements. And so do we see this experiment go on for another 2 weeks, regardless of outcome? Or is there really some reflection and some real digging back into, performance and looking at the film and deciding, who's the best guy to go with? And I think, a lot of people are calling for Juju to get the start, at this point too. I feel almost the same way that I do about some of these other players. I think it might be a little unfair to Juju to throw him out there right now too, because you're not throwing him into an offense that's operating at high efficiency, and he's going to go through a lot of growing pains. And I what I would hate is to be 4 weeks down the road and have the entire fan base turning on him and saying he's not the future, he's not the answer, because he's put into a horrible situation.
What was the best food you got out there in Houston, Sean?
So after our, and I'm going to blame this on William too, but after our live pod last week, I came down with a really nasty summer cold that I battled all week long. So I ended up not really getting any good food. I had plans to go out and have a really good dinner on Friday night. And when I was thinking about getting ready, I laid down on the bed in the hotel room and fell asleep.
It was over from there. Yeah, I know that feeling.
So I woke up at like 9:30. It was too late to go out and do anything. So I ordered a couple of slices of pizza into my hotel room and did that. And then, Saturday I just grabbed a quick lunch, and that was convenience more than anything. So I just went to Pappas and grabbed a quick lunch there before I had to get myself ready to head over to the stadium.
How's it connected to me? Was it me passing my germs through the internet?
Oh, I think so. I think it was the old microphone you were using.
Oh yeah. Well, we got that fixed last time though. So
all right.
Sean, always appreciate having you on. You kind of alluded to what your prediction is going to be, but you think they're going to stick with Staub, huh?
I will be surprised if they don't. I just think, I don't think the move to Staub was a PR move, but I think when they decided they wanted to do something different and that he brought those intangibles that Prime wanted to introduce. I just think it's hard for a guy who has as much pride as Prime does to admit in this short of a window that maybe that was an overreaction and he just kind of knee-jerked it. So I think I think we might see at least one more game with a lot of emphasis placed on what can we do to game plan around Staub and get him ready for this next matchup and see how it goes from there. But that's just my, I have no clue what's really going to happen. That's my gut thought. It's not how I hope they approach it, but I guess we will see when we start seeing stuff come out at the later end of this week.
Can I ask you a question before you go there, Sean?
Yeah.
You see Georgia Tech beat number 12 Clemson, and Houston's 3-0, and they haven't had a close game yet. Is there any reason to believe that maybe these are just two pretty good teams?
I think Georgia Tech's a good team. And I think they're about the quality caliber of team that we all thought CU was going to be going into the season. That we at our optimistic level thought they were gonna be an 8-9, outside chance at 10-win team who's going to make some noise and have a chance to compete for their conference. Houston's just a team on the rise, but I still don't think Houston is, they've made some big improvements this season, and they're going to, like they did last year, they're going to upset some teams. They're going to win some games, but, I still think they're going to hover around 500. I wouldn't be surprised to see Fritz get them to a bowl game and turn that 4-8 from last year into 6-6. and do something along those lines. But I don't think we're going to look back and say, man, Houston was a damn good team and that was a quality loss.
Good.
All right, Sean, appreciate you. I'll see you on the press box on Saturday late. We got another late one coming up this week against Wyoming. Appreciate your contributions as always.
All right. Have a good weekend, guys.
All right. Love you, brother. Hope I don't get you sick this week.
We're going to bring on the young Will here in a second. And before we do that, though, let's pay a few bills. Is your business growing but not quite ready for a full-time CFO? Macaulay Capital offers fractional CFO services for companies doing more than $3 million in annual revenue. You get expert financial leadership without the full cost. Learn more about how you can improve your business's profitability and cash management at MacaulayCapital.com. If you know Boulder, you know the Hungry Toad. We've been serving this town since 1991, long before the lines on Pearl Street. Just north of campus, we're your local British pub with proper fish and chips, quality burgers, a scratch kitchen, real English cask ale, and no tourist fluff. We support CU football, women's soccer, and the loyal fans who keep it local. The Hungry Toad, Boulder born, Buffs proud. All right. Thanks as always to our sponsors. And now we got Willie the Kid joining the show.
What's going on, gentlemen?
Deacon Gardner and Willie the Kid. I think that's where we're settling.
Need to get a little closer to that razor, man.
Yeah, I'm letting it grow.
Oh, you're letting out your inner Adam Munsterteiger? Is that what we're going to go?
You know what? Listen, I don't know if I'm ever going to have a shape up that good. Yeah.
But hey, Will.
Yeah.
That's got to have to work on that, man.
That's about as close of a lineup as I've seen. You guys both got that, man. Is that a daily thing, or is that weekly, or
for me it's every other day. What about you, Deacon Gardner?
Same every other day.
Man, that thing is Adam, like I said, his beard lineup is about as clean and precise as mine's nowhere near that. This is more of a Friday night depression kind of beard that you just kind of you throw all of your cleanliness habits to the wind and just kind of say, you know what, it was a tough Friday. I'm going to start back again on Monday. That's what's going on here.
Yeah. Nice.
So what do we have going on with the Buffs in the NFL today? Who all has got some notable games?
Yeah, so I'm actually as we speak right now, it feels like something that continues to happen. Landman just made a massive third down stop. They're playing the Rams right now, or they're playing the Titans. The Rams are playing the Titans right now. We got a great game with Jacksonville who's playing Cincinnati. So we're seeing Travis Hunter on both sides of the ball. Have yet to see him check Jamar Chase on defense. That's a matchup that I'm looking for. I don't know if they're going to give him that today because Jamar Chase is going off right now. And then we also have Chidozie on the Ravens. I want to see LeJohntay, see if he gets any snaps right there. So we have a full morning slate of Buffs, and then hopefully some tonight as well. But we got a full slate of guys.
Are they still calling Nate Landman?
That whatever I heard a Superman drop by the broadcast. I heard a lot. He is, I don't know if you guys watch this, but they have this thing on Instagram where it's done by Bleacher Report, and it's a cartoon kind of a joke show basically, and they sum up all these things at the end of the day. And Nate Landman made an appearance on there, and my heart just felt very heavy. That's how you know you made it. When you get on the satirical cartoon show on Instagram, that's how you know you're a player. He's by far LA's probably most important player from what I've seen so far.
Well, and I think
he's still not getting paid, though, is the problem for me.
I know.
He was a starting linebacker for the Falcons last year, and was making like the minimum that he could, and didn't even really get that big of a contract out there for Los Angeles.
20 years ago, your Mike linebacker was one of your highest paid guys. Now he's not. That's just how football has evolved. Yeah. But I think Nate Landman is a poster child for people that think that speed is the only thing that matters for a linebacker, instinct is far more important.
Oh my goodness.
And vision. You got to be able to see it and decode it instantly. And he's always been able to do that. So that gives him a step more speed in game time because he can diagnose it much faster.
He was basically two defenders on the field at once during his time in Colorado. It was incredible. Incredible.
It felt truly like he was playing multiple positions at one time. I just remember him. You're right. Somehow he would make a tackle in the A gap, and then the very next play, stop a slant. He'd deflect a slant coming into the. I didn't know, but it's what you just said, William. He's so instinctual that it's okay that he doesn't have 4.3, 4.4 speed.
Right.
When you have an instinct of knowing kind of where the play is going to go, you just happen to be there where the play is every single time. And he's doing the exact same thing at the next level. It's one of the most impressive things I've watched this year.
He also has that ability that back in the day, back in the 80s and 90s, the Mike linebacker would step up and hit a guard in the face and plug the hole. Right nowadays, you would try to avoid that, kind of put an elbow and go on. There was one play I remember, it was 3rd and goal. Again, I don't remember who we were playing, but he diagnosed, they try to go off tackle, and he just kind of sliced between the legs of the guard and the tackle and tackled the guy 2 yards deep in the end zone. And I had to watch it 3 times to figure out what the hell happened, because 1 minute he's here and the next, and I was like, and I had to slow it down frame by frame to see what he actually did there. He didn't think about it; he just did it. No. And that's why he's so quick. He doesn't have to think about it. He sees what's going to happen and he just does it.
It's innate. I know it's innate, and
that's
you want
right there.
Oh, you're right. That is innate. He's got the innate ability, and he did it in Atlanta, and I'm hoping that LA is not just trying to get him through on kind of. He's not on the minimum anymore, but they're still not giving him anywhere near a bag that he's worthy of. I hope that they're not trying to just kind of work him till the wheels fall off and then scoot him the next, because he is. I don't think so after this year, because it's obvious he's irreplaceable for this Rams. He was the only thing that was working last week for the Rams, both offensively and defensively. I mean, he made the play of the game that sealed it. He is spectacular. He's my best player of the NFL so far, and it's not even close.
We have had some great inside linebackers from CU in the NFL. Ted Johnson's right up there at the top. Chad Brown was up there. Greg Beekert. He may be the best.
Oh, gosh. And you're right. Chad Brown's another good one. Another good one.
Right. And what's his name? The one that Butkus for us. That's a scout for the Broncos now.
Why am I blanking on his name?
I know, right?
But he had the same type of. That's going to bother me.
Yeah.
What'd you say, William? Sorry, I was looking at the chat. I shouldn't get distracted. What would you say?
The inside lilinebacker who was a Butkus winner for us, played in the NFL, and a scout now in the NFL.
Matt Russell.
Matt Russell.
Yeah.
Right. Because he was a similar kind of guy to Nate Landman. He wasn't fast, but he had instinct.
No, and that's why I was thinking, because of Russell. I mean, you're right. Very similar style of play, but rarely, and it's hard for any program to get a guy, especially in this new era of football, where the Mike linebacker has to be almost in coverage as well. It's not like it was the Singletary days. So you rarely see them be able to take that next step. It was a question with Landman, but my goodness, he is far and above the best player on that defense out there, and that's saying a lot. He's doing a lot of things.
And as much as he's loved by the fan base, he may be the most underappreciated linebacker. Well, Barry Remington's the most underappreciated linebacker ever at CU, but Landman, I don't think people fully understand what we had in him.
He was just there for some tough years. It was drowned out by the lack of winning and the chaos and all that stuff. Because it was there. If you were watching games, you understood that. I mean, you were hugging Landman tight, saying you're the only thing that we have right now. Please don't leave us.
Well, you put him on this team, and maybe we're 3-0.
Could you imagine if he had in which kind of goes? That's a good transition of what you and Sean were saying of what happened Friday. I think you said it first, Deacon Gardner. By the way, I caught myself this morning listening to the podcast, walking around and going, Amen. Yeah. So you were dropping some points in there. I was like, this is the Sunday sermon. I don't even need to go to church today. You were already getting it done.
Well, Adam couldn't even get a hello in until I got it off my chest.
You already hit that sermon up. We just need to get an organ player in the background and just kind of let you roll. Almost caught the Buffs Holy Ghost this morning. But
did I catch a Mike Singletary reference in there from you though?
Of course, absolutely.
Then you can't be young Will then. If you got Mike Singletary coming out, he was my guy. He was my favorite. Him and Walter Payton back in the day. And Singletary's eyes before the snap was the greatest thing in the NFL during those years.
I tell you, we went to back to school night at TJ, and the first teacher we went into had a poster of Walter Payton on the wall, and I said, "Okay, anybody know who that is?" And of course, no. I said, "That's the single greatest running back in the history of football, right there."
Sweetness.
Yep. Man, with the Jerry curl.
And with crap offensive linemen and crap offensive lines in front of him for most of his career. We're just going into nostalgia 80s and 70s football.
We're trying to avoid the elephant in the room, I think is what's happening.
Listen, I'm your guy. If you want to go back and talk old school football, we don't even have to address Friday night. We can just do this for the next hour.
And the most beautiful back to watch run to me ever was Eric Dickerson. That upright style, just
high knees,
Yeah, Dan looked like a band major. You know what I'm talking about? Like the band. It was just fluid and beautiful.
I agree. You know who my favorite running back?
Yeah, to me, the days of the I formation and Mike Singletary type Mike linebackers, that was the golden era, man.
Different style of football. My dad always jokes about, because I have all these references, and for some reason I swear I lived a different life somewhere where I was born in the 70s, 80s era of football. Because I know all these things and I don't know how I know them. And I'll make a, reference to the 85 Bears, or I'll make, that was when Earl Campbell, when he ran that, when he took that right in Texas, and he said, of course, you know that, Will, because you were negative 13 years old at that point.
Best Bronco linebacker ever will be Randy Gradishar until the day I die.
Man, Gradishar was something special. Something special. Now we could go, if we want to go into those old Broncos teams, man. I think my dad taught me about Tom Jackson before he taught me about the rules of life. He said, listen.
I used to go down and play pickup basketball at Washington Park, and TJ would come in and play sometimes. And the first time he came in, I was like, God, that guy looks a lot like Tom Jackson, except he's real small.
He was small, wasn't he? I was going to ask you.
Man, he was little. I was bigger than him. And I'm like, that guy's a great outside linebacker in the NFL, but just so fast. Adam's just sitting over there going, what the hell are we doing?
No, I enjoy it. But, at some point, we probably need to get Will's thoughts on no, I mean, hey, you guys, if you got more to say it, because that was a rough one, Will. I know you tuned in. Let's get your thoughts.
It was rough. There's so many things that I could say or that I'm thinking. I just want to kind of go off the point of what you guys both actually kind of touched on, and what Sean came and touched on too. We have some real, I think, solid individual playmakers on defense. Consistency is a question, but I'll never forget. I remember watching when Coach Calipari went to University of Kentucky basketball, and he was getting all those true freshmen coming in, and they were one and done guys. And they asked him what the hardest part of coaching these guys are, because they're coming in so young. And he said the hardest part of coaching these kids is getting them to trust that if they just do their job, they're going to go to the next level. They don't have to have the ball in their hands 80% of the game. They can be the fifth most, ball-centric player on the team, and they're still going to get to the next level. That's the hardest part, is getting them to trust that. When you talk about Coach Prime coming into Colorado, I'll still remember that, that first introduction to the team. He said, here at Colorado, we're going to be we're not worried about the NIL. We're worried about the NFL. I think right now, what's kind of going on is, because individually you see these guys making fantastic plays where one-on-one they are at times as elite as anybody else in the Big 12. But then it's almost like I'm putting it on my highlight reel. I want to put it on tape so that I can go to the next level. I don't know if these guys trust that just getting a win and doing it, holding your job, whether that's keeping containment, what you don't always have to blow by that guy because there's someone in the back. For instance, Tawfik Bayard, who I want to give a shout out, who had an incredible game and had a lot of game-saving tackles. You're leaving him out to dry to make game-saving tackles like that because I think our defense is very individualistic and next level minded. Whether that's coaching, I'm not sure, but somehow we need to relay that to them. And I don't know what the answer to that is, guys. I don't know if you saw the same thing, but
I think you make me think of one thing, and it takes me back to something Sean said. And I think part of the problem is that nobody stepped up and become the leader on either side of the ball yet. Nobody is that guy that you look to who brings us, pulled us all together and says, okay, do your damn job, right? And there's nobody on the field that feels like they've reached that level of play to enforce that. And so, Sean, who was our safety last year that graduated?
Stillman Craig.
Stillman Craig. And Sean said losing him might have been the biggest loss.
I agree.
That was me. That was me,
Adam.
Deacon. But if you don't want to give me credit, that's fine.
Yeah. But it was a great point, and I think there's a lot to it.
Thank you, Pastor or Deacon. Yeah.
Okay, everybody hug. Give Adam a hug.
I was Adam, and I agreed fully with that point. I mean, talk about a guy who did his job, and he was the vocal leader too.
Right.
We lack vocal leadership on that team, and I think going on the offensive side, I think that a big reason of why Staub was put forth to this position is because he talks to the guys. He's a locker room guy. I think that he, Prime loves those kind of feel-good stories, which is, again, that's between him and Staub. I mean, he's had him a long time, and there's that level of familiarity with him as well. He knows Staub. He doesn't know Caden and Juju quite the same. But that vocal leadership is dearly missed now. I don't know who's feeling that.
Yeah, right. But it's also nuts to make Staub the guy who gets 44 touches with all that talent on that offense. It's nuts, and I don't care. I don't know who your quarterback is, but I think Simeon, I don't know what kind of personality Simeon Price has, but he's the kind of guy that if you hand off to him and he's getting 100 yards a game, he could become that guy. Because if that becomes your identity, then, and let me tell you something, coached a lot of offensive lines, man, and they love it better when there's a guy behind them that they want to block for.
Absolutely.
Because then they want to come out and let's just dominate some people. So
yeah,
I hope, I hope we see that, because it's a no-brainer to me that the guy can run the ball, man. I don't know where he's been for 4 years, but
I don't know either. He's special, isn't he? He's special. Yeah. He's a big back. It's been a while since we've had a shifty big back at Colorado. Yeah. I mean, his vision is great laterally, and then he can hit that burst vertically, and he's gone. I mean, that everything changed when those two consecutive plays happened. He got a big gain, and then he took another big gain to the house, and it changed. I don't know why we keep it. It happened to Delaware too. We'll run the ball, and at Georgia Tech for that matter, we'll run the ball well, and then for some reason we abandon that. It's very odd, and I can't call it. I don't know if that's Schumer. I don't know what it is behind that.
It has to be play calling, because I pointed out the stats at the start of the podcast. Simeon Price is averaging 7.1 yards a carry over 3 games, but he's only got 19 carries. That's 6 carries a game, man. 10.2 for Friday night, and he got 5 carries, and yet Ryan Staub had 11 carries and 35 passes. You just don't want Ryan Staub to be the guy 44 times.
Absolutely.
That's why you're not making it.
Yeah. Putting the ball in Staub's hands asking a lot from him.
Yeah. And again, it's like Sean said, it's not fair to him. He's not that guy.
No.
You do that with Shedeur for sure, because that's who he is.
Yes. Yeah.
Before we get Will out of here, just following off the point made there, I thought Price was their best offensive player on Friday night. And you mentioned Tawfik Bayard. I mean, he played a fantastic game. He had that one penalty in the game, but just was flying around and cleaning up a lot of stuff. The final score would have been a lot worse than 36-20 if it weren't for Tawfik Bayard. on Friday night. Any other shout outs you want to give, Will, here from Friday night, guys, that stood out to you, or just any other thoughts?
He was my player of the game. Byard was, just because if you're really watching the game, there was 2 separate plays where he made the game-saving tackle where that was going to the house, and I'm talking about that final score. What you just said was we're getting routed. I mean, it turns into embarrassment. If a lot of times guys like that get swept under the rug during a loss that bad. I wanted to show him a little bit of love, and you know what, Preston Hodge. I felt like he played a better game than he's been playing all year towards the end of last year. I think that he still has some things that he needs to clean up, but all things considered, I've been waiting for him to have kind of a breakout game. I don't think this was that by any means, because there were still some routes that he let up. But I think Preston Hodge, I was just looking at the defense, trying to see what we're going to do about this from the offensive standpoint. I think until we can get our quarterback to stay, whoever we're going to name our starter and stick with him, I think it's going to be, it's going to be a long year.
I'd throw one out there too on a different sort of take is the best freshman on this team right now is Alexander McPherson.
Yeah.
I mean, and then they don't play him. I mean, he almost had that sack that caused an incompletion, and that's 2 weeks in a row he's done that, and he's fairly stout. He's better against the run than Merritt, but then they don't play him in the second half. I don't get it.
And did we? I didn't see the post game presser. Was any of that addressed in the post game? Sorry, not to hold you guys, but when you talk about the consistent just recycling, just putting in new players all game long and really not having a consistent front, did anyone ask, Coach Prime or Shermer or anything about that you guys saw?
Yeah, Shermer didn't talk to us post game. Coach Prime, he did take a lot of responsibility on himself. Like it was maybe one of the more humble Coach Prime press conferences that I've seen since he's been at CU, but it really wasn't on specific things. Even Brian Howell tried to ask him about Tawfiq Bayard, and he's like, "Look, man, I can't praise anybody right now." Like it was kind of a downer of a post game.
Yeah.
And he's really going to challenge this team, and I think they're going to get better. I don't think the season's over, but man, a lot of question marks.
Yeah,
a lot of question marks.
Love seeing Georgia Tech beat Clemson though.
That was a great game, and that just shows that Georgia Tech is as real as we thought. And it appears they're just getting better. So. Yeah. They're going to be scary in the ACC.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we always appreciate you. Great stuff, man. Thanks for joining the show.
One of these times we got to take him out for some Taco Bell or maybe a Juju burger or something. I don't know.
Absolutely.
The hungry Toad. Come on. We got to get Will up to Boulder.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and hit Boulder in October. I told Adam this. I'm coming right up to you guys. We'll go to the Hungry Toad. We'll do the whole strip. We'll go out.
Sounds great.
I'll throw this out. I think I'm taking October 16th, which is a Thursday off. Maybe we can all meet up there.
Let's do it.
Is the deacon getting his calendar out over there? What's going on?
Looking up, it's paper. It's not.
Okay.
As long as it's deacon, we'll make our schedule around that. Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Will. Good stuff, man. I hadn't thought about that, the whole auditioning for the NFL side of it, and that would make some sense in terms of just kind of the disjointed nature, given that this is a defense that's got more talent than they're playing like they are right now.
Right. And I think, defense is a funny thing because, 10 guys can play great and one guy misses his gap and it's big play, right? So you could be, football is a funny game because you could be, I don't know the math of this, but 10 11ths of the way there and still get, beat hurt. So you've got to get those right pieces in place. And I still think that Livingston, what he showed last year is he gets better after a few games. And so hopefully they look at this one and make some adjustments. I hope they settle down to maybe a smaller rotation of players that are more effective because you got film on everybody now, and we got.
They might need to get Cam and BJ Green, maybe Levanta to get on like a seriously, like get on like a Zoom and just be like, last year we were successful because we played with the tribe mentality. That was the cry that we heard from those defensive guys, and Livingston led that charge last year.
Right.
I agree with you. The coaching is not up to par right now. How much of that is this stuff going over the players' heads and them not buying in? It's, not being in that room every day. It's hard to say definitively.
And I also wonder, I know some people blame the whole portal thing, reloading with the portal, but it is tough if you're everybody, if so many guys are the new guy, it's a lot easier to do that if you're Silmon Craig and you've been there a year. It's all, it's a lot easier if you've had a year underneath you, but I wonder how much that effect has on it too. But there's just nobody on that defense that's taking charge on the field.
I had a few more notes I wanted to run by you, William. Okay. First off, Larry Johnson, the third, got the start again at right tackle, but Andre Roy Jr. played most of the game at right tackle, actually graded out pretty well on PFF. Now, we have our issues with that. I'm curious. I didn't see Larry Johnson get hurt. Did you see what happened there by chance?
No, I didn't. I didn't see when he went out. I go back and look, but like on that first drive, I thought Johnson was very effective. Any mistakes I saw weren't on him. I think Chrysler's had more struggles than he has, but I've been saying Roy started 7 games in the Big Ten last year at right tackle, so it's not like it's a dumb idea. And I think I was saying in the first 2 games, I think we've all noticed a little bit of problems with Larry Johnson's not the most athletic. He's got great size. I think and here's another reason, I think if we are just handing off to Simeon Price, Larry Johnson's your guy. If you're going to do a lot more pass protection, you want Roy in there. But it's not surprising to me. I thought Roy was a guy who had a shot at that starting spot to begin with because he's played it.
Yeah, just looking at it, Johnson played 11 snaps. So what would that have been? Probably the first two
series,
offensive series. Yeah, okay.
Because that first, that, and I don't know if he got hurt. There was 7 plays on that first series, so then 4 plays on the next. And that reminds me also that somebody asked in the chat, how come we haven't seen Jaheim Otis? And I think he's injured, isn't he?
He was out this week. Yeah. Before that, he was available. He was available at the beginning of last week. Something must have happened in practice because he was not on the trip.
And he was super effective in that first game, so getting him back could make a big deal.
Yeah. The officials definitely didn't lose this game for Colorado by any stretch of the imagination. There were some really bizarre reviews and calls in this football game, though, weren't there? There were like 4, I want to think. Like, first off, Ryan Staub should have gotten credited with that rushing touchdown.
Yeah.
The ball cleared the end zone before it popped up.
It's clearly touching the white line when it hits the ground.
Yeah. The pass interference with the blocking downfield where they got their big 6'7" tight end.
Yeah.
I don't know how they overturned that. It looked like he was beyond or like right at the I don't know how you overturn that. I'm trying to think of what else happened. There were a couple other plays in the game that were just kind of silly in terms of.
There was one where they on their first drive where they got a first down on a long pass where Tavian Coleman just split a double team and they just grabbed his jerk. I mean, you could see it stretch, and I'm like, black judge is right there. They didn't call the damn thing. Now, I'm not one to complain about not getting a holding call because when I coach defensive linemen, I always don't come over here crying about holding because if they're not holding, they're not doing their job. But that was pretty obvious for me.
Well, yeah, and then I was just looking at my notes. The play where Wegman got hit in the head and his ball goes short and they call an intentional grounding. It's like, dude, he almost got his head taken off. Like, of course he's not going to have it close to the receiver that was on that side of the field. I mean, so again, it wasn't all like against CU. It was kind of both ways.
Yeah, and I hate the way they're calling the roughing the passer on that first roughing the passer against us, where they just kind of nudged him a little bit as they ran past. Dude didn't even fall down, for God's sakes, man.
Yeah. So, do you have any other notes? I'm kind of going through the rest of mine here. It was a rough night for Makari Vickers and Reggie Hughes, I thought.
I think we just need. I don't know. We still don't have an identity on either side of the ball, and I think we got the personnel there to have an identity of a powerful running team. And the other thing I say, I hear the usual whining about the offensive line. The offensive line is not the problem. It really isn't. We ran the ball. We handed off the ball 12 freaking times. 12. I mean, that's just stupid. I don't know. I've been thinking about it ever since then. I just don't understand how you can be so, I'm gonna use the word I like to use, obtuse. If you're the coaches on this team watching the film, how can you not see, man? Hand the damn ball off to Price, and you got an offense instantly. I don't know. And then I wish they would look at that first drive for the first 6 plays or so, and that's how you do it, man. You set up one play with the previous play, and you hand off the ball, and you run strong. And I don't know why he stops doing that. It's like he scripts that first 6 plays, and then he's freelancing and pulling it out of a hat. I don't know.
Yeah. Wyoming's not going to be a pushover. This is a football game that Colorado needs to win by a sizable margin.
Yeah.
To gain some momentum, though. Early on against Utah yesterday, I was watching some of that with Wyoming. They're a scrappy bunch. It's not a very talented team. It's a blue collar football team, which you'd expect from the Cowboys. Utah finally started to get it going in the second half, and they kind of ran away with it then. Wyoming's not going to score a lot of points, so this could be what the doctor ordered for Colorado's defense.
I'm just looking at their schedule real quick. I mean, they only beat Akron by 10-0, so they're not going to be a high-powered offense. And I don't think, I think one thing that I saw was that Houston clearly watched that Georgia Tech film, because they attacked our defense with the exact same stuff. And Livingston's got to watch our film and self-scout and figure that out, because teams are going to keep doing it until you figure it out.
Yep. And if you got guys freelancing, it's going to keep working for the other team.
Well, and where they keep gashing us is not off tackle, but between the tackle and the sidelines with the quarterback runs and whatever, and somebody has got to be out there in that spot. And I'm sure it's accounted for in the game plan, but somebody's not doing it.
I was telling Brian in our analysis video, it's like, yeah, Wegman is a good quarterback, but it's like, at some point we got to get to a point of like covering this program to be like, they're making quarterbacks look too good week after week. And Haynes is a good quarterback from Georgia Tech, really good quarterback. But like you're making these guys like year after year, even pre-Coach Prime. I know some people don't like to hear that, but like it's just like at some point the excuses need to stop in terms of these guys going up against Colorado and having career type games.
And that brings, that reminds me that there's, as I was watching the game, what I kept thinking to myself is, everybody out there can find a good offensive coordinator. Not at CU, man. We can't find it. Like, they're gashing us always with inside slants. Their screens work like charms, and our screens are an abomination. I just don't understand why other teams can figure it out and we don't. But continuing to run screen passes with wide receivers who don't block is kind of stupid.
Yep. Well, I don't know. How do you think this therapy session went?
Oh, I had fun.
We got a few things off our chest, right?
Yeah. We got a good cast of characters here. Young Will comes and brings a little. I would have stayed on the 80s and 80s NFL football for 100.
Man, that was it depends how old you are, I guess. But
yeah.
And when I heard the Mike Singletary reference there, I was like, man, that's pretty awesome.
And one of our regulars, Debbie C, says she went to school with Mike Singletary.
She did. Yeah, we put that up on the video here, and
then I saw
he's an even better person. Right. Yeah.
Somebody else said Earl Campbell, and I'm like, right on. Yeah, that was great. They just ran him into the ground, though.
Yeah. And then you go a little bit beyond that. Barry Sanders, that era, watching running backs in the NFL was a lot of fun too.
I was in Folsom when he hung 300 plus yards on us in one game. So when he was at Oklahoma
State. Yeah. Great college back. So
I was also in the stadium when Brian Bosworth gave both fingers to the student section, and student section responded as you might imagine.
Was one of those middle fingers directed at you?
I don't think so. I was quiet and shy back then.
Okay. That's hard to believe.
Yeah, well, you know.
Thank you, Northside, for the super sticker here. We appreciate that. It's going to be a long season if they can't figure some stuff out. And
right.
I guess I'm still banking on them figuring some stuff out.
Well, and I'm still banking on the fact that there's no world beaters in this conference either. You know, I mean, I don't know. You know, there'll be some teams as good as Georgia Tech, but not everybody's going to be that way. So, you know, like I said last year, every game didn't come down to Shedeur and Travis. You know, we won some other games with other ways too. So,
yeah, good stuff, William. The Deacon, as you will be called now going forth. Have a good rest of your Sunday. Okay,
well,
let's try to.
It's kind of appropriate that because I spent 1 year coaching at Wake Forest, who are the Demon Deacons.
There you go. I just needed another stamp on that, and it's official now. So, thanks for taking us to church, sir. I appreciate you, man. And hopefully, we can talk about a Colorado Buffaloes win next week. That'd be nice.
There we go. That'd be a lot more fun. Thanks to everybody that showed up and watched us blather on.
Good stuff in the chat too. Thanks, guys, and we will see you next Sunday. Thanks for tuning in.
Let's go. Let's go.
My Colorado swing. My Colorado swing. My Colorado swing. I think they like my Colorado swag, 'cause when I'm in that play, I don't really know just how to act. And when I'm in that go, you know I'm acting bad. Holla, get a bus with my Colorado swag. My Colorado swag. My Colorado swag. I think they like my Colorado swag. My Colorado swag. My Colorado swag. Man, I swear I think they like my Colorado swag. My Colorado swag is pushing 180. Speed and pad competition, see you later, baby. Colorado Army with soldiers like the Navy. And boat is where we station, patiently awaiting. When I hit the field, it's so hard to behave. I'm Colorado swagging as the crowd do the wave. Look into my eyes, I can tell that you afraid. 'Cause you know we finna hit ya. Hey, you on your own now, why you watching the official? You just better hope you make it to the next whistle. And we ain't playing with you, you can get it anytime. It started at the scrimmage, we gon' win it at the line. My Colorado swag in the middle of the ring. Throwing blows, knocking down team after team. They like my Colorado swag, 'cause when I'm in that play, I don't really know just how to act. And when I'm in that go, you know I'm acting bad. Holla, get a bus with my Colorado swag. My Colorado swag. My Colorado swag. I think they like my Colorado swag. My Colorado swag. My Colorado swag. Man, I swear I think they like my Colorado swag. Have you ever seen around? I'm Boulder, Colorado. Buffalo is what I am. All the teams come and follow. When I start hit the field, the opposing crowd swallow. 'Cause they know I'm about to kill. He gon' feel that tomorrow. Whole team full of warriors. Got me feeling tribal. Big 12, here we come. We ain't worried about a rival. If you want it, come and get it. We'll wait for your arrival. When you hit this Folsom field, man, it's all about survival. Pray you make it, yeah, you better bring your Bible. Right back, blind side, flat line, no revival. Get them bucks, mess them up, we say we got them. If we don't, then we'll get them. When we see them, then we have them. Like my Colorado swag, 'cause when I'm in that play, I don't really know just how to act. And when I'm in that go, you know I'm acting bad. Holla, get a bus with my Colorado swag. My Colorado swag. My Colorado swag. I think they like my Colorado swag. My Colorado swag. My Colorado swag. Man, I swear I think they like my Colorado swag. I think they like my Colorado swag. 'Cause when I'm in that play, I don't really know just how to act. And when I'm in that go, you know I'm acting bad. Holla, get a bus with my Colorado swag. My Colorado swag. My Colorado swag. I think they like my Colorado swag. My Colorado swag. My Colorado swag. Man, I swear I think they like my Colorado swag.